Have you ever wondered if rich people just think differently? Well, it turns out this isn't just some self-help theory, it's actual science. Thousands of brain scans have revealed that people with a wealthy mindset often have biologically different brain structures. So let's dig into what that really means.
It's a big question, isn't it? Is the difference between wealth and struggle really just about what's happening between our ears?
Well, the science is pointing to a big yes. Our thoughts can literally physically reshape our brains, and that can guide us toward financial success. See, when researchers coached people to adopt these new ways of thinking, their brains actually began to change. And it all boils down to 4 key shifts.
So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to look at the scientific proof, then dive into 4 huge differences in thinking: long-term vision, spotting opportunities, continuous learning, and taking ownership. And we'll wrap it all up with a 4-step plan you can start using right away. All right, first up, the scientific proof. We're going to get into the landmark studies that show us exactly how a wealthy brain works differently. And believe it or not, it all starts with something super simple: a test involving little kids and a single marshmallow. So, the first major difference, it really comes down to one simple but powerful idea: the ability to delay gratification for a bigger reward down the line. You know, it's all about playing the long game.
And this whole discovery, this massive idea, yup, it all started with a marshmallow offered to a room full of 4-year-olds.
Okay, picture this. It's 1972. A psychologist named Walter Mischel sets up this now legendary experiment. He brings these little 4-year-olds into a room one by one, puts a marshmallow in front of them, and gives them a choice. He says, you can eat this one marshmallow right now, or if you can just wait 15 minutes till I get back, you'll get a second one. But here's where it gets really fascinating. Michel didn't just stop there. Nope. He and his team followed these kids for the next, get this, 40 years. They tracked them all the way from elementary school into their adult careers and lives. And the results? They were absolutely staggering. The 30% of kids who waited for that second marshmallow, they went on to have higher incomes, better jobs, and even lower divorce rates. And the 70% who couldn't wait? Well, as adults, they tended to struggle more with debt, health problems, and, you guessed it, lower incomes. And then came the brain scans. When these original participants were in their 40s, scientists put them into an MRI machine and, boom, conclusive proof. The waiters showed way more activity in their prefrontal cortex. Think of that as the CEO of your brain, the part in charge of self-control and long-term planning. Their patients had literally sculpted their brains for success. All right, let's move on to our second principle, because this builds on the first one. Wealthy people don't just sit around waiting for good things to happen. Their brains are actively wired to find opportunities that most people just don't see. Check this out. In a 2019 experiment at Harvard Business School, researchers put wealthy and struggling people into rooms just filled with hidden money-making opportunities. The results? Honestly, they're shocking. Over 70% of the wealthy individuals spotted at least 2 opportunities, while only 18% of the struggling group noticed even one. Their brains were literally wired to see potential. And this isn't just some lab trick, right? It translates directly to the real world. This ability to spot opportunities is exactly why the vast majority of millionaires build multiple streams of income, while most people are relying on that single paycheck. Now, they don't do this all at once. There's a clear model they follow. First, you master one predictable income source, whether that's a job or a business. Once that's stable, then you fire up your opportunity detector to find the next thing. Think about Jeff Bezos. He mastered a high-paying job, then saw an opportunity to sell books online. Once Amazon was predictable, he looked for the next opportunity: music, then web services, and so on. One predictable stream at a time. And that brings us right to our third pillar, the relentless habit of learning. See, wealthy minds aren't just looking for opportunities. They are constantly acquiring the knowledge they need to actually capitalize on them. So a financial planner named Thomas Corley spent 5 years just tracking the daily habits of his clients. And what he found is so telling. Nearly 90% of his wealthy clients spent at least 30 minutes a day on targeted learning, stuff directly related to their goals. Meanwhile, 95% of his struggling clients spent their free time on entertainment. Let's make this super real. Imagine 2 friends, Rahul and Ankur, who both lose their jobs during lockdown. Rahul spends his days on Netflix.
Ankur decides he's going to learn video editing. 9 months later, what happens? Rahul is still unemployed, while Ankur is earning 1.5 lakh a month as a freelancer. Same time, same internet, but a different choice that led to a wildly different outcome.
And that leads us to the fourth, and honestly, maybe the most powerful mindset shift of all. It's about who you believe is in the driver's seat of your financial life, you or external circumstances.
A London School of Economics study asked thousands of people this exact question. The struggling group consistently blamed external factors, the economy, the government, their family situation. The wealthy group, they took ownership. They pointed to their own decisions, their persistence, their willingness to take responsibility. And the brain scans back this up. The ownership group had a highly active CEO brain, while the victim group was dominated by the brain's fear and blame center, the amygdala.
So here's an actionable tool you can use right now. Write down your biggest excuses and then consciously flip them into actions. I have no money becomes, okay, I'll find a zero investment idea. I have no time becomes, I'm going to use my commute to learn. This simple act starts rewiring your brain from blame to action. So we've covered a lot of science, but it all comes down to a clear 4-step plan for your own transformation. Let's put it all together. This is it. This is the summary of how to build a wealthy brain. First, think long-term, just like those kids who waited for the second marshmallow. Second, become an opportunity detector, building one income stream at a time. Third, make learning a non-negotiable daily habit. And fourth, take absolute ownership of your financial life. Look, the science is crystal clear. Change is possible. So the only question left is the one on your screen. You have the 4 steps. What is the very first, smallest action you will take today to begin rewiring your brain for success?